the Doctor. It's clobbering time. Engage.
Welcome, everybody, to issue 68 of the Heroes Asylum. That's right, it is Kane and Mike once again. How you doing there, my friend? I'll let you chug that drink real fast.
Yeah, appreciate that. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. You and I have had a rather hectic weekend. Yes, we are still somewhat borderline lockdown, so Kane and I decided to do an extended midnight movie recording. So if anybody's interested in the midnight movies, they are over on our sister page. You can go there for heroesasylum.com and see both our shows. But
we knocked that too last night.
Yes,
pretty impressive.
Yeah, we were feeling froggy, or I know I was.
Yeah, that's very unlike you, but it was a welcome change. I dug it.
We got done early on the first one. It was a quick one, and then there was a hill, there was a challenge that we had been working on, and we finally just got over that hill.
That was the second attempt at doing the other movie, which I guess probably be dropping pretty soon. So.
Well, my plan is I'm going to drop the first one we did, which if anybody's interested, we did Dodgeball. For our midnight movies, where we just do different styles of movies, and then the next one I'm going to drop next week. So basically, what we're going to have right now, I mean, we're literally for the rest of the month, we're going to have one episode for midnight movies a week, and then of course one for Heroes Asylum.
Yeah.
So definitely something good to have there, and then just more options, more things to listen to.
More content for you guys to definitely get your ears. I don't want to borrow Kevin Smith's. What do he calls it? Ear pussy?
Yeah,
he calls it ear pussy. I think that's what he calls it.
Something for your brain hole or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So we're gonna go ahead and just like we do every week, guys. We sit down, we chit chat about all the news, all the things that have been coming out. We just sit down and chit chat about that, and so that's what we're gonna go ahead and get started on. We do that through the admissions ward. And let's jump right in.
News from the admissions ward.
All right, Kane. I guess I'll probably go first since I think I have more on here than you do. So that way we kind of maybe balance it out. Sorry, guys. I just have to look at my notes. My regular note program is not working that great. But what we have here, actually, one that was a big news for both you and I, something we both were looking forward to, is the announcement that the actor that played Boba Fett, or Jango Fett, also Boba Fett, for in the Clone Wars, or in the prequel series, and I do apologize, I always butcher his name, but Morrison.
Tamara Morrison.
Tamara, thank you. Yeah, it looks as though Tamara is going to be coming back for season 2 of Madolorian. So all those folks out there that were freaking out, going, "Oh, I saw Boba standing in the corner," we're finally going to get Boba, which I think is great. The news, from my understanding, is that he's not just playing Boba, but he'll play another role as well. Could be just a guy in a mask. But my thought and my hunch, and I guess just my wish, is that he would play Rex. Because I mean, the last time we saw Rex, we saw him in Return of the Jedi at the Battle of Endor. Why not? It's only 4 years, so I'm sure he's still alive if he made it that far.
And I would still kicking somewhere.
Yeah. And again, that would kind of lead into the hinting that they had for Ahsoka. They were talking about possibly bringing Ahsoka, and that news is still sitting in the rumor mill. We never got a confirmed, hard, definite from the good sources. That news came from a couple of questionable areas. So. But this one comes from a couple of good sources that they popped up, so I can see that. And then again, if, like you always say, it's one of your favorite things, where there's smoke, there's fire. That talk of him being there, and then there's that talk of possibly Ahsoka. Then that would make sense for Boba to come back, but then also maybe him coming back as Rex.
Yeah, it's all about the connectivity. I mean, I just recently saw the ending of Clone Wars again for the 4th time, and you can't say they're not setting something up for further down the road. And I think Filoni had that idea, in which the brilliant thing that he did was he closed off one trilogy while slowly setting in the seeds for maybe another one or his characters to go elsewhere. And you guys have seen the finale with Ahsoka and Rex. You know that they survive, so they're going to do something else. And them coming on the Mandalorian is probably the best move they can make. If they can get Rex on there, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe an Ezra mention. I don't know.
Yeah, this would be after that time. I know. There was also another news that they were saying that Filoni had came out and said, Rebels is not going to get a rebirth like Clone Wars did. But again, Clone Wars never ended. It didn't have a proper send off like it just did. To me, Rebels ended. We talked about that story arc. We saw where those characters went, and their moment in time stopped. So yes, it would be great to see those characters, doing something else. We do know we've seen Ghost out there. That's a definite, for sure. We saw, if anybody saw Rise of Skywalker, Ghost was sitting right there with Millennium Falcon, flying shotgun. So it's there. The world is still growing, and I'm sure we'll see it, but I don't think we'll see it in Rebels. We may see it in Mandalorian. We may see it with Obi-Wan. You never know. I mean, you have those. I know the one area we're probably not going to get in too much connection would be like the Cassian Andor series, because that's too far in the back. I mean, we'll definitely get some like old school, like, oh hey, I remember seeing him, or we might get some something like that. But as far as like that group, I think they're, if anything, it's Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian. Which
that's about it. They're just going to move forward. I think they're pretty much going to stay in that time period of Return of the Jedi. I think that's where they're going to hang their head on for at least now. That looks like what they're going to settle in, which is fine because there's a ton of stories to tell right there. You literally have the ending of the Empire and the birth of the First Order. So that right there, like what happened in that middle area.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to get the hardcore fans. I mean, to be honest, that's where you're going to get the sweaties. Well, not the sweaties like us. The sweaties like us like everything, but the fans like Steve-O, our good friend Steve-O, he was brought up just like we were, but he really lives in the cinematic world. And I think the only way to capture him to come in and want to watch that is to stick to the threading or the rooting of it taking place in the original trilogy.
Yeah, and if he likes it, he can go back and watch Clone Wars, and he can watch Rebels. That's the beautiful thing about it. You're going to bring in characters onto the Mandalorian, like, oh, who's that? I never seen that.
Yeah.
Where do they come from?
Yeah, that's the big one.
The curiosity is going to peak and be like, oh, okay, we have it on this series. You're going to find out where he or she came from. So I think it's a perfect way to do it, especially for like an old man like Steve who refuses to notice anything in canon like our legends. I think it'll pique his interest.
Yeah, well, he did. I mean, I know he's probably my one example I can say, and I'm sure everybody has their own version of that. That he finally did break down. He finally watched Mandalorian and loved it. But so what I was trying to explain to him, I was like, well, you loved it for what you know, but you're only catching half the story. You're like literally, when you're reading a book, you're only reading like a couple of pages. You're missing a lot of what happened in the background. Just the finale. I mean, we're sorry guys if nobody's ever seen it yet. There's the Darksaber shows up, and we saw that in Rebels. That shows up at the very end. If you didn't know what the Darksaber was or what the history was of that and what the meaning was, then you were lost. All you thought was the dude was holding a black lightsaber, but that's not what it is.
No, it's not a lightsaber at all.
So, I mean, it's nothing, to taking away. He's chosen to have his, enjoy his fandom the way he chose to.
I mean, he's still part of the community. It's great. I mean, he's part of that, what I would call there's a word they call it, like legacy fans almost.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And legacy fans are just about that core 6 movies or those core 3 movies, however you look at it. He's all about that, and that's fine. He's still a fan. I mean, if he doesn't want to stretch out, that's fine. But, him liking The Mandalorian is the peak, and maybe he'll go back someday. Who knows?
Cool. So what do you got next?
Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, they're doing a remake. I forgot the movie. It's a Disney movie. Something Steamboat. I don't know.
It doesn't matter what it's called. Sorry, I had to pull an old rock.
They're doing a film of a comic book property, which honestly I've never heard of. It's called Ball and Chain. I did a little bit of research on Ball and Chain. Apparently, it's this couple who are not together in a relationship, but the closer they are together, they have powers, but the further they are apart, those powers cease to exist.
Sounds like
they hate each other.
Sounds like Hancock.
Yeah, it's very similar to it. But so they're gonna be doing that, and it's a comic book adaptation by Scott Odell's Ball and Chain. So, hey, it's Dwayne Johnson, should be fun, and I guess
Yeah,
he's doing a lot more stuff with Emily Blunt, which there are hints of Emily Blunt going to another universe, maybe.
maybe.
Who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe.
yeah. We haven't because I think what the one movie they just did was the African Queen.
Yeah, African Queen or
I did that,
something. Or,
and that hasn't come out yet either. I don't think. Or, of course, it hasn't because everything's
no,
shut down. But
everything's pushed
and,
back.
I mean, again, I like Dwayne the Rock for what he does. I think you and I discussed this before. He is the king of popcorn movies. You don't go in expecting world changing and emotional film. You expect popcorn movie, great action, some humor to it, and that's what you're going to get. And that's what I expect from the Ball and Chain. Not saying,
Should be fun.
not talking about my
Like I
ex-wife.
said,
But
I've never read the run, but the premise sounds interesting, very Hancockish. So
yeah. Well, the way you just described it, I was like, that's Hancock, but the other way around. When they're together, they're weak. When they're apart, they're stronger. So,
yeah, that's. Well,
and again,
we'll see.
a movie I wish they would have embellished more on. I think
Yeah,
that the story and the backstory to why they were the way they were, I thought would have been awesome.
yeah. There was. It's funny because I think I was talking about that with a friend of mine the other day about that movie. It's like I'd never seen Hancock. I'm like, you should watch it. It's
Oh, yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
and there's lore to it that you don't know about. And that movie made money, which is strange. They never did a sequel to it.
And again, it's two characters and two actors that you and I both like. I mean, Jason Bateman, and then also Will
Charlize
Smith.
Theron's in there.
Essentially, I mean, a great cast, and I mean, just good action. And I loved watching Will Smith be not Will Smith for a change. I thought he did a great job on that.
Oh yeah, so I don't know when this is going to come out, but as everything is going to be in development hell for a little while. So, what you got next?
My next one actually falls in line with, again, Star Wars, because there was some Star Wars news that did break out, that we got an announcement that Taika Waititi is going to be given a Star Wars film. We got announced a couple of weeks ago that, and I do apologize for I don't remember her name, but the director and writer of Russian Doll, she is getting her series, and Taika's going to be getting one, and I cannot wait to see what Taika does. He's not a stranger to the Star Wars world. He definitely he was last season. He did the finale for Mandalorian. With, again, nobody's seen it. Great finale. But he's just got a good rhythm and I think a good sense for this kind of movie. I mean, we saw what he did for Ragnarok. Killed it, and with that.
He has his own directing style. That's what I like about him. Directors out there always have their own styles. Like Chris Nolan has his own style. Scorsese has his own style, and Taika has his own style. You see it right away. Like, it's bright, it's bombastic, but then it could be like funny. Mm-hmm. He can mix in the humor so well. And when his news came through, I was like, this is perfect. These guys fit together. It's like they're like gloves. They should love each other.
Yep.
They're together now. Like, it's gonna be perfect. And I think we discussed like what he could do. I mean, he literally could do a Tag and Bink movie.
Yeah, I think that would be. Yeah, I would not be upset
great.
at all.
I will not be afraid if it's Tag and Bink on a freighter for like 2 hours.
Yeah, if nobody knows who Tag and Bink are, basically, Tag and Bink are the two characters that are behind the scenes through all of Star Wars. They are somehow the catalyst for certain things to happen. That they're these two goofballs that just they're your Jay and Silent Bob of Star Wars, and they're doing their own thing. They joined the Empire to have a job, but they're not good at their job. But they're there to, and they trip over certain things and make a ball start rolling in the story of Star Wars. There's so many things that they did, that they were there on Hoth, and that's what caused like the shields to go down, or I mean just like ridiculous things. And I think it would be something fun to see them. I know probably Taika won't do that. I think knowing Taika, he's going to do something serious.
He'll do something else,
which is fine. I can't wait to see, because hopefully it's something fresh. But it would be fun to see, like, even if they took a Tag and Bink and like did an animated series on DC, I think would be fun.
That would kill.
Yeah.
And do it in the style of the Harley Quinn show.
Yes.
Come on.
I don't think they'd get that rough with it, but but definitely would like to see what happens. I mean, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to, again, I wish I could remember the lady's name, the director's name.
Yeah,
for
we
Russian
talked
Dolls.
about her, I guess, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think she's going to do a great job, and then to throw Taika in there. If nobody has gotten a chance, I don't know. Did you? You probably didn't get a chance. So you and I talked about it yesterday. But the Mandalorian, it's a Disney gallery.
I've seen like the first 5 minutes. I didn't finish
Okay.
it. But the director's chair or director roundtable that they have here is fantastic.
Yeah, it's there's 2 episodes out right now. They're both with the directors. One is more about the directors themselves and who they are and where they come from and their history. And then the second one is really you bring in Kathleen Kennedy. You still have Dave Filoni in there. You have a couple of the other directors, and they're just talking about their love and what they felt about Star Wars and what, when George was there. George was almost always there on set. They would tell the story. He'd just kind of pop in and go, not that way. Yeah, that person wouldn't do it that direction. They maybe go that way, and they're like, oh, okay.
That's good too that he's still there as like a spiritual advisor. That they still look up to him. Like when he sold his assets to Disney, it's not like they said, "Oh, George, no, you leave. Get out."
Yeah.
They still embrace the guy. This is his universe, and they still gonna rely on him for intel. And Filoni, who's like his Padawan.
Yeah, basically.
And, he still goes to him. So that's refreshing that he still gets to go on set, because I know like in the newer movies, he didn't even go on set.
Yeah.
They just didn't want him there, and I kind of felt like, you still want the guy there. I mean, at least to get his approval.
Yeah, get
an idea here and there.
Would that go that
and
way?
I felt that the newer trilogy kind of suffered in that. Like, it was just like, to me, it was like, they were almost like 3 one-offs. They didn't really tie in together, to my opinion. But
yeah, definitely.
Seeing him on set of Mandalorian, that's refreshing, and hopefully he'll show back up in season 3.
Yeah, let's hope. And get a chance to. But if you guys get a chance to definitely watch that, it's on Disney Plus, the Disney Gallery, and they're doing. I think this is a 5-episode series that they're running, primarily just Mandalorian, but I'm sure they'll start doing it with other shows as well.
No, I'm sure.
So what do you get next?
Arrow producer Mark Gundenheim is going to adapt Rob Liefeld's Prophet as a film. Prophet, I guess, was a comic book that was created in the early 90s by Rob Liefeld. So it's another, if you don't know who Rob Liefeld is, he's the guy who created Deadpool. So
Liefeld's an interesting man. If you guys want to do some
colorful guy.
Yes, extremely colorful. There's actually a group that actually does Liefeld sightings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's another show, and they do, one of their segments is Liefeld sightings and what chaos was he causing over the weekend at some convention. But yeah, it's funny to hear some of the stuff that they come up with.
Cool, dude. But yeah, I don't know too much about Prophet, but if it's going to be in the CW universe, they're going to put their own spin on it. So, but then again, I don't know if it is. Is it Prophet DC?
No, I think Liefeld was primarily Marvel. I thought.
I don't know too much about Prophet, but I heard about this character. It's like, because the only Prophet I've heard of was in the Vertigo universe. And he was a smaller character. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I have to find out more on it.
I do some homework on it, but yeah, I guess Gundenheim's gonna put it in that development stage.
Yeah, we know how development goes. Yeah. Speaking of development, there's one of your babies, New Gods director Ava DuVernay. DuVernay. Thank you. Reveals that the new Genesis Bug Queen, All Widow, will appear in the New Gods. Again, this movie's been development, hell for some time. I think we had some news that came out last year that yes, they were going to do it. I'm not paying up my bet to Kane just yet because it hasn't been made, but it'll be interesting because if nobody's really read the New Gods and seen New Genesis and Apocalypse and seen that world, the Bug Queen is kind of a big part of it, especially if probably one of the bigger characters, not bigger. I would give him more of a BC level for the New Gods, but Fred Bug, he's part of the Bug community, and we don't see. He becomes a bigger part of the overall New Gods, throughout it, and he's also part of the.
Young Justice. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, I was just going to say Young Justice. He's a different take on it. I did like his take in Young Justice.
I didn't even know who he was until he showed up. I was like, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah, well, he was
Red Bug.
Yeah, well, he was in. If you've ever read the original Jack Kirby New Gods, he was one that was there, and he was the new gods always look down upon the lower life forms, and that's what they considered him, a lower life form. But
Literally,
he was
he
sort
is
of
a bug.
he was sort of the conscious. I mean, he was a humanoid bug is basically what it was. But it'll be interesting to see what direction they go. I mean, New Genesis and Apocalypse. I mean, those are some big shoes to fill in, and I'd like to see where they're going.
It's pretty crazy. It's Kirby madness at its one of its finest,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to throw Highfather in there and Orion and all those other guys. So it's just putting the bug in there. I guess it's fine. I don't know how long he's gonna be on screen. Maybe it's just a minor thing. Like
Well, this isn't Fred. This is the Widow or the
Queen
all
Bug,
Widow.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, it's just a Queen Bug.
But I'm sure they could allude to Fred Bug somehow.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be part of that. He'll be their connection to the Widow, and I just are they doing just New Genesis and not talking about Darkseid, and are they just building the world?
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna do New Gods, you're gonna have to put Darkseid in there. I mean, right? I mean, it would make sense.
You have to explain Orion and the differences between him. It just I don't know. It's a kind of interesting route to take. That's again one of the reasons why I always thought that they would never attempt it, because it is such a massive world, and it is so much to take into that that it has nothing to do with DC. I mean, it's really. I mean, it's Darkseid does in a way, and that's usually just to deal with Superman and piss him off. But the rest of the time, they're kind of in their own little world.
Yeah, they don't do anything with Earth. I mean, unless last animated movie Apocalypse 4.
Well, there was that, yeah.
There was that, which was phenomenal, by the way. If you guys have never seen it, came out this past week. But yeah, it's a vast world, and there's a lot of world. I don't know what they're gonna do if it's a one-off movie that they plan trilogies, because I don't know how studios plan nowadays. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. I mean, how they're going to begin. Are they going to tell, like, Orion is Darkseid's son, or, they traded kids when they were younger? I mean, I don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah, I mean, they can do that in quick flashback. Yeah, I mean, they can do that in, like, a 5-minute little montage flashback of that's, that's where Orion came from, and then Mr. Miracles. You can kind of see that. That's what I mean. To me, this true story of Apocalypse is Darkseid and Allfather, that relationship. But to bring in the All Widow just kind of seems kind of strange for me.
Yeah. So that movie will be coming out in 2030. So
sure.
For that.
Yep. Yeah. maybe I'll be dead by then, and I won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I know. I'll go to your grave. You bastard! They made it, and you're dead.
All you'll hear underneath the ground is ha ha.
Middle finger comes out of the ground.
All right, so what do you got next?
Guess what? WB smartened up. They said we're not going to do a Supergirl movie, and we're going to actually stall it because we want to work on Superman.
What? Shut up.
Yeah. Can you believe it? They came to their senses? I mean, oh my God.
Took them long enough. And the rumor is still kicking around that they're still possibly wanting Henry back. Which
he still wants to do it.
Oh, he wants it bad.
He's been clamoring to do it. He's been talking about storylines that he wants to adapt. I mean, I think one of the ones that I read, it was off of Heroic Hollywood, their websites. He wants to do the Man of Tomorrow, I think it's called, one of its storylines. I don't know if it's called that, but I know it's a basic storyline that Superman goes to space. He comes back and finds out that half of the world's population has disappeared, and he's got to find out how. I'm like, I've never read that.
Yeah, I don't think I've one of the ones I've read before. But I mean, I've heard the title, but I've never read it. So many Superman stories out there and different books. But yeah, I mean, it'll be great. I mean, unless they're going to concentrate their focus on Superman, but refocus it like they did Batman, and go younger. So I just not sure. That's where we're gonna have to wait to see what WB is deciding and what route they want to take. Is okay, yeah, we want to bring Superman back into the fold, but we're gonna recast. I see yes and no. He's still young enough, but I mean I agree to the point that there is some baggage that comes with Henry coming back.
The bad taste from the older movies, probably.
Yeah, well, but again, to me, they're not bad. You and I both love them. I just think the lexicon already has these bad tastes in their mouth, and I don't know if if WB is going to be smart about it, they're going to recast, and I just don't want to see
I mean,
it.
they could look if they want to recast. That's fine too. I started seeing a show on Netflix, which actually you told me about the other day, Hollywood, and I saw this kid on there. I don't know who it is.
Jack, the guy that played Jack.
But he has that young
Definitely, yeah.
Superman vibes, and that was the first. I'm like,
he reminded me a lot of Smallville Superman.
Yeah,
Very
he has that like just look to him, like he could bulk up a little bit. That's fine. Anybody can do that, but
Yeah.
Well, not anybody, but he'll have time. But he was the one. If they went younger, I could see him doing it a lot. But it's up in WB's hands. They don't know what they want to do yet with Superman.
Yeah,
I mean, they've always said like, "Oh, we have a hard time making a Superman movie." I'm like,
no,
how?
You don't.
No, you don't. You're just being lazy. There's tons of stories out there you could adapt and make into a movie. Man of Steel, I thought was great. You did a good job with that. You just got afraid because you made Zod get his neck broken. I mean, because everybody went to hissy fit. Oh, he doesn't kill.
Well, that and the other hissy fit was the monetary damage that happened in Metropolis. I'm like, why didn't anybody fucking pitch a fit about about the Avengers destroying New York?
Yeah,
didn't hear anything. But oh no, the second fucking Superman starts destroying a town. The concerned citizens of the real world are getting upset. I'm like, guys, it's a fucking movie. It's a movie. Why are you worried about what the insurance rates are going to go up in Metropolis for? Just watch the movie. And yes, shit breaks in superhero movies. That's one of the fun things about watching them. That we know we would never see something that massive where they would destroy. Yet, I mean, yes, we've had our moments of destruction in cities, but nothing to the scale that we saw in Man of Steel, or to the scale that we saw in Avengers, or Age of Ultron, when they picked up a whole freaking city up out of the ground and then slammed it back down. I didn't hear any kickback on that, but
no.
For some reasons, somebody had
they got a little hard on for that. I don't know. It's just like, come on, man. What was he supposed to do? He was Superman literally for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He just started learning to fly, and all these Kryptonians coming down. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't prevent all that from happening. It's just strange.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, stop. Just stop yourself.
Yeah, I even look at some of the critics from that era when they reviewed that movie. They're like, well, I had an issue with the city. I go, why? The movie is called Superman. Man, it always boggled my mind. Well, that's not the Superman I know. I'm like, well, do you know Superman personally?
Do you know? Yeah.
Do you guys hang out on the weekends? You go to the pub?
Yeah.
I mean,
go grab a pint together. What happened?
Yeah, what? Do you go to the Winchester? Do we see you guys there? I mean, I don't know. It's just very, very strange.
Yeah.
That movie came out.
So my next one, actually, I had a kind of combo with yours about them talking, Henry wanting to come back and stuff. So I'm going to jump over that. But next one is we are experiencing a Cage-assance, I guess we can call it. We've lived through a Keanu-assance, a Johnny Depp-assance. Now we're getting ready to emerge into a Nicolas Cage-assance. Disney Plus is talking of doing National Treasure 3. Plus, they're in works of doing a TV series on Disney Plus for the National Treasure series. And I don't know about you. I'm a big fan of the National Treasure series.
I'm a huge fan of that. I love those movies. I mean, come on, they teach you history in a way. I mean, that's fantastic. I love the second one actually better than the first one.
Yeah. I was a bigger fan of the second one.
I like how you have to unravel. I mean, when they stole the Declaration of Independence, and there was something in back of there, and they had to go to these different drawers and at the White House. I mean, I love those movies. They're great. And they're going to do a series about it too? Come on, bring it on. And anything with history that involves espionage and like the Illuminati, you don't know. It's just like, oh, come on. That has me written all over it.
Yeah,
and you're going to bring Cage back?
Yeah.
Sign me up. Just do it now. Here, take my money. Take all.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, okay, I'm on board with that. That's something I definitely would love to watch. I was a fan of the Indiana Jones movies, and also even the Indiana Jones television series. For those of you old enough to remember, there was an Indiana Jones television series, and that was fun. I mean, it was, you want to talk about people going, oh, we don't get the swashbuckling things anymore. We're getting that's swashbuckling. If it's going to be our version of it now.
Yeah. So I guess that's going to be in Disney Plus. Is that what they said?
Disney Plus, yeah. Okay. There's talk TV series definitely in the works, and then possibly doing a movie. So maybe the movie will lead into the new series.
The series.
Hopefully, we're not getting his kid or something.
Please, I hope not. I'm so done with that thread. It's just, I'm sick of it already. Like, enough. Like, oh, well, he's the son of this guy, and he's just the daughter of her. Like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
just either do a new story or just forget the old characters.
Just name it something else. Then at that point, don't call it National Treasure. Don't call it
National.
Don't call it Indiana Jones with his son. It's just something different, and that's fine. But yeah, if they continue with that, I'm sure they will be introducing a younger cast. They probably will have a son or a daughter to step in, most likely a female, because that seems to be the route that they're going, especially Disney. Putting in the more female leads. They even announced the other day about Pirates of the Caribbean. Talking,
Karen Gillan is attached to that one.
Talking to bring Karen in, which I think is fine, because to me, Johnny Depp wasn't the lead in Pirates. Pirates was an ensemble cast. So I saw some of the posts going, "Oh, not again, dude." I was like, yeah, but when you really watch the Pirates series, there were three leads. So she's probably just going to be one, and she'll probably be the female pirate. You have so many great ones. Anne Bonny. I'm trying to remember the other one, female.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got great. If you're going to go with that, maybe they'll name her something different. But
to piggyback off the sons and kids relationships, of existing movie characters, I thought a movie that came out this year that actually did something that it's an older type of movie they brought back, but they added new spice to it, was actually Bad Boys for Life. I actually finished seeing that.
Oh, did you? I didn't get a chance to.
I'll tell you what, I like it a lot. I actually like it better than the first two.
Did you?
Because they added something that I don't want to give it away until you watch it, but they added like this new team. And you would think, when you always add a team to the movie, like, oh, these stupid kids, who cares? But they actually made the movie a little bit better. And then you find out something about Will Smith's past, which they brought in, which kind of made sense too. I was like, ooh. Okay, and then after the end of the movie, they're probably going to do more because it did successful. But if you could do something like that with existing characters, like, you don't need to have the son or daughter. Actually, they did do something like that. But if you just bring in like new elements, new youth to invigorate the cast, I mean,
bringing the Utes,
bring them Utes for some invigoration. But if you could just do that, I mean, and you keep those core characters, because sometimes when you bring in new characters, they're like, oh, screw the old ones. That's why I felt like in the recent Star Wars movies that they disrespected the older cast. They're like, oh, we don't need them, whatever.
Yeah, it seemed like they were tossing him to the side. They were
he's dead, die, we don't get
him. Yeah, they were pretty much fodder. It was like, yeah, that's great, you guys did this, but we don't really need you anymore. That's why we've talked about ad nauseum about the Clone Wars, but I think how the Clone Wars treated their older folks, and then you look at Rebels and how they were treated, Rex was treated, and the older warriors and the old guards were treated. You treat them with respect, and it just seemed like, like I said, the older cast was like fodder.
Yeah, they didn't care. Like, goodbye, get lost. Why even put him in the movie if you're gonna treat him like that?
Well, I mean, I know with Solo, he wanted to have Harrison Ford. He wanted to have Han Solo, killed off back in Empire. That was, he didn't really, he wanted to back off of that. So that one I wasn't surprised on. Luke, I wasn't too surprised on either, because we needed the ghost, to be the guide. But apparently that ghost broke all the Force Ghost rules. Apparently, yeah, a lot of rules were broken there, and of course, and then they couldn't stop the whole thing with Carrie Fisher. That was outside of their control. But again, I think they did the best they could with what they had. But yeah, a lot of times it felt like the older were just fodder for the new. And I guess, speaking as 40-something-year-olds, we're kind of more sensitive to that.
Just a little bit.
So what do you have next?
Daredevil might not be dead. He might actually get resurrected, perhaps on Hulu, or it's actually going to be on Hulu. That's what they said, because apparently, according to this report, Kevin Feige is a big fan of the Daredevil Netflix series, and tangentially, he wants to bring everybody back, but with an MCU spin to it. Basically, they want to bring Daredevil back, which basically is going to spin off along with their universes into other things. They were talking about Heroes for Hire, bringing back Jessica Jones, incorporating Spider-Man in there. They were talking about Sons of Midnight. They were just talking about all tons of stuff they want to spin out, and they want these characters back. Now, if you guys don't know, there was I believe, a 2-year block for Marvel from using these characters from Netflix, and that ban is about to be up in November. So basically, after November, they get their characters back and they can move forward. So, and they like Charlie Cox apparently, and Kevin Feige likes Charlie Cox. So this does put. I mean, a couple weeks ago we had a dampen a rumor of Charlie Cox being in Spider-Man 3, and maybe he knew something about this. I don't know, but Feige is a fan, so we'll see. It'd be interesting though. It's the right place to go on Hulu.
No, it
they
is.
Want to
yeah.
keep that same grit, so it's not going to be a Disney Plus, but you're still going to tie it together to that cinematic universe that they have, which is perfect. So.
Yeah, it would be perfect. Honestly, but the easiest way to explain it is the snap. Mm-hmm. You know, they were one of the ones that went away, and now they're back, and now they have to like reestablish themselves. They're now been gone. What was it? 5 years? How long was the snap? Or 6?
5 years.
5. Okay. So I mean, they're back now. They have to reestablish themselves in their own universe. In their own city now. So I definitely think that would be an interesting tale to tell, that hey, they've been gone, and I just hope I really hope they try to bring back the original cast. And again, I know it's been some time for them. I know what's her name from Daredevil has been like really complaining about not being able to find work.
Yeah, I feel bad for that girl, man. It's crazy. I thought she did a good job, and then she can't find any work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to realize she did a great job there. She did a great job on True Blood. So I mean, she's been around. It might just be the time frame too for her. But hopefully she'll find something. I mean, maybe they'll rehash True Blood.
They got to bring back D'Onofrio though. That's a must.
Yeah,
you have to bring him back. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You bring him back because like him and Cox, they were just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were.
And his portrayal of Kingpin was like because the only Kingpin that we had was Michael Clark Duncan, and he was okay, but this Kingpin was more terrifying. Had almost had that man-child type of demeanor where he was very calm, but when you get him pissed, I mean, literally he's going to slam a door so your head falls off. That's the type of, nuances that he had. So hopefully they'll bring him back. And, I mean, it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I think this is a planning stage. And I think it shows that they want to do something with these characters, which is good because they do have a following. They do got a following.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, again, those were your B, C level characters of your Marvel world, but there's a big hardcore following for Daredevil, for Jessica Jones, for Luke Cage, for the Heroes for Hire. I mean, there's definitely a big fan base for that, and they're your more grounded superheroes. And they need to be part of that world. It's kind of weird that they don't just sit in Hell's Kitchen and not do anything. They would go out there and help. And, definitely Spider-Man being very New York-based character, that he should have some interaction with them. So I'm sure we're going to get Daredevil in Spider-Man. I just don't know which one it's going to be. Yeah. We may not be Matt Murdock doing it. It may be his partner.
It could be Foggy.
Yeah, it could be Foggy. Could go be there. So we're getting a nod to yes, they exist. And go from there. But so that is actually everything I have. The last one I had was really they were kind of talking about that yes, there was rumor that they were trying to get the 3 live action Spider-Men to be in the Spider-Verse. When the Spider-Verse came out, they were going to have a scene. They were trying to the writer had actually had a scene where we were going to see Maguire, Garfield, and Holland interacting with one of my favorite characters, Spider-Pig. I mean, it's
Peter Porker.
I just and that's but it got cut. I'm sure the pricing on that was probably a little too much to get them all involved.
It probably was. I mean, just the thought that they had it in the planning stages and actually doing it, that makes me giddy, which makes me think maybe somewhere down the road we could get that because that thinking is already out there.
Yeah. If anything,
yes, it was an animated movie, true, but whatever. I mean, it's you could still use that.
Yeah.
And they are doing a movie called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi does have connections to Spider-Man.
Yeah, you never. Well, again, you got to realize Sony's the parent of Spider-Man, not Disney. So you kind of got to get through the lawyers for that one.
But maybe you don't even have to have them in the costume. You could just have like Toby show up.
Yeah.
Like, oh hey, he could be just walking down the street like, oh hey, what's this?
Have him sitting there on the side of taking pictures or something.
Yeah, it's nonchalant, Maybe he's working at a pizzeria now, or he owns the pizzeria.
Why? He was horrible about delivering pizzas. He was always late. Be the shittiest pizza in New York. I asked for extra webbing. Why is there not extra webbing on my pizza? All right, guys.
Poor Peter.
Yeah, so that is the end of the admissions ward. This week for our Heroes poll, now if anybody's not familiar with our Heroes poll, that's where we here at the Heroes Asylum talk about our favorite reads, things that have come out. There has not been anything new out, so I know Kane and I have spent some time digging into the archives of the comic book world, so we're going to cover that. All right, so for Heroes poll, this week actually I delved into a character that I read lightly back in the 90s, Hawkman. And basically I kind of like did my research. If anybody's not gotten a chance to check out the DC universe, they have a massive back catalog of comic books. You can read digital, don't have to download. You can just write from your phone. And so I kind of did some of my research on Hawkman, and they have all your series on there. The Hawkman, dating back to like the 60s. Even the Batman back to the 40s. And I mean, they have the catalog. If you really want to do your Batman or Superman, homework, you can do it. So I looked at it and I decided instead of going back to the 60s, I picked up the 1989 series for Hawk World, where it basically kind of does a retelling of the old 1960s series with Hawkman and Hawkwoman. She likes to be called Hawkwoman. And when they come to Earth, and they find out that one of their ancient villains, Blythe, is actually on Earth hiding out. And to me, it was just the Hawk World. I read the first 6 issues of it. Great cop story. Like we always talk about these cop dramas and things like that. This one really was all about that. Trying to track down the bad guy, things they had to decide, which was good. Was it for the law, against the law, because they're having to deal with their own personal laws of Thanagar. Now they're here in New York, and they're being welcomed open arms by the people of New York, and they're just having to adapt to the situation that they're in. Carter is scarred from things that have happened to his family, so he is a bit of a brooding character. Shara, she's his partner. I mean, when I say partner, she's primarily just the partner of him as an officer. They're not lovers of any point at this of any sort at this point. But it's a really good read. The only thing I got to tell you is you have to become comfortable with their language. And it's not the bad language. It's just the Thanagarian language and what they call things. They call the bad guys meat. They call there's just certain terminologies that you just have to. The first couple of pages when they were using some of these terms, I'm like, what are they talking? Oh, okay.
Big language, right?
I mean, it's not. It's just a change in what they're saying.
It's a different type of tongue of the language. I know what you're saying. It kind of throws you off, but you just got to get used to it. Yeah.
But again, like I said, I read the first 6, and I mean, just really good storyline. I think I'm going to try to jump into the 1990s one where they restarted the Hawkman comic book, and picked up where the Carter Hall was an actual archaeologist, and go for that story. But I wanted something from the original. It's something very true to the origin of Hawkman. So did you get a chance to read anything this week?
I actually started reading an older one. I actually started reading Infinity Gauntlet again.
Really?
Because, yeah, I did. I don't know why. It just came out of a whim. I think it was on Wednesday night. I got home from work, and I'm like, I want to read something. There's nothing really on TV right now. Unfortunately, they shut down. So, and you can only watch so much Netflix. So I just started going into Comixology. By the way, check it out, kids. It's a great buy. And I just started reading the old Infinity Gauntlet series and, just trying to see how many things they took and incorporated into the movie compared to the comic. And the comic is vastly different from the movies, just so you guys know that. In the comics, the reason he wants to use the gauntlet is to appease Death. Mistress Death, that's what he wants to be with. That's the love of his life. He wants to appease the entity of Death, which is a realistic person in this universe. And he does it by collecting the stones. There's 4 more characters that go after Thanos, like Galactus gets in a fight with him, and he kicks Galactus' ass, too. Just kind of crazy. Gamora actually is in there. Nebula's part of it big time. She actually gets to wield, and you get, what's his name? It's escaping me right now. You get Adam something. Adam Warlock.
Oh, Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock
yeah.
is in there, and you get his alter ego Magus is in there. It's just the whole story is just it's insane. It's very dense. It's very deep as well, but it's kind of crazy too. You have every single Marvel character. You have deaths. You do have the Snap too in a different way. I mean, it's just after reading it again, I like what they did in the movies. I felt it fit the movie side, but the comic side I always like a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they add more stuff to it. You get to, actually, there's actually not 5 stones. There's actually 6 out there. There's another stone that they, there is there a 6, right? Is there a 7? There's a 7th. There's another stone that wasn't even on screen in the movies.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Didn't even mention. But it was really cool. I tell you what, I like their portrayal of Thanos in the MCU than I do in the comics. I think in the comics he's a little bit too goofy.
Well, yeah, because he was in love with death. I mean,
That's the only thing,
it's just crazy with that. And apparently there was another character, and I'm trying to remember who it was, that also was in love with death, and he was constantly having this battle with his emotions and feeling like death was cheating on him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when it's just so yeah, the comic book is definitely different take. I like what they did in the movies. That's the best way of doing it, because it would have been very strange to explain a man in love with death.
Yeah, you can't.
You just
kids watch it.
yeah.
Let's be honest, kids are going to watch that. So, but it's just the whole story of it. Like, to me, the way they took that comic, it was a pretty long comic, and they somehow merged it, and that was basically the creation of the MCU. Still, it's fascinating. You basically see a lot of the stuff that Feige chose from that run, and he put it in the MCU with his own spin. And I thought it was kind of cool to go back and look at something like that, because you always like to go back to formula. If you ever watched the original Spider, back to formula, and just reading that comic again, I get that joy again, and you get that hunt. They're hunting for these gems, and everybody's going across the cosmos to stop this insane guy from getting all these gems. It's just a really good book. Really good book. It's fun. That's the best way I could say. It's fun. Check it out. It's been out forever. There's a couple runs. It's called Infinity Gauntlet. I think it's Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, and there's after Infinity.
There's a couple of Affinity things, just like DC and its Crisis. Marvel is known for its Infinities. There was an Infinity series that came out, I think 3-4 years ago. Another take of the Infinity, and just so many things out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of comic books, though, DC just released its schedule for June. Because by then everything should be up and running, and they're going back full force. They're picking back up with the event Leviathan, Hellblazer's coming back out again. Shazam. Let's see here, Manhunter. They're doing the Joker 80 Years of the Clown Prince of Crime. That's a graphic novel that's going to be coming out, along with Young Justice Volume 2, Lost in the Multiverse is coming out. Then, on those are like the first couple of weeks of June. Then for you, my friend, it is June 16th is what you should be looking at, and this is a Tuesday release. Remember, guys, DC now has Tuesday and Wednesday releases. Tuesday, the 16th, and put this on your calendar, Dark Knight's Death Metal #1.
Ooh,
drops.
yes.
So,
I have been waiting for this. Yep.
And in that,
I knew it was a matter of time they were going to release it.
And that same day as your Metal Men #7, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on that.
Yeah, I know. Well, you got some time to catch up. You got no excuses now. But actually, something that was I'm actually going to start picking these up. There are only 4 issues in, but the Green Lantern season 2 is in here. If nobody has watched or got a chance to watch the animated computer generated Green Lantern television series, Disney Universe has it, but I watched that a couple weeks ago, and I forgot how much fun it was and how deep they get into the true core legends. And so when I saw that they were actually did release a second season, but they released it straight to comic book, I thought that was really great. So that's I'm looking at picking up the first couple just to get a feel to see how it is, if it captures that same essence. But
yeah, it sounds fun. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of that series too. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the computer generated stuff, but
when I was watching it kind of clicked into my head. I was like, this is why I didn't like Beast Wars. But
yeah,
I think if Beast Wars had a little bit more solid storyline behind it, I think I could have excused it, just like I excused it with Green Lantern. And again, that's why I didn't watch Green Lantern to begin with, because I was like, ugh, that computer crap. I don't.
But they get deep in there, man.
Real deep.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's one episode where the anti-monitor shows up, and they have the source wall. I was like, oh, somebody's doing their homework on this. Yeah. Once I saw the source wall, I'm like, okay, turning everything off. That's how you get to my heart, man. You get to those deep dives, and you bring stuff like the source wall in there. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
And we also will have, speaking of Green Lantern, the 80th anniversary, 100-page super spectacular, #1 on June 23rd. So definitely DC's ready to ramp back up. Got some graphic novels coming out as well. But I think, like your biggest one is definitely the birth of the death metal, which I hear that's going to be their big follow-up, and that's what everybody's like gunning for. It's either wrapping up the villain of the year, Hell Rise, and
it's all leading into death metal, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what they're shutting those down like a week or two beforehand, and then Death Metal 1 will kick out. And then, of course, you're getting some giant-size issues of Superman, Aquaman throughout the month. So, I mean, definitely things to keep in mind. The Batman's Grave #7 will be out the first week of June.
I like that.
I really like that one.
I love that. I think the thing about it is that I love, and I think I've talked to you about it nauseum, is the panels. They had one issue. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that, where basically they were literally just like 8 pages in a row, nothing but panels, showing action, and I was like, "This is great."
With me, my favorite part of the Batman Grave was just their connection to the detective side of Batman.
Yep.
Just that first episode or the first issue, where they showed truly how he was dissecting a crime scene as a CSI detective. I just loved it. I thought, okay, this is what I know of Batman. This is what Batman is to me. We've jokingly said, there's never been a true detective version of Batman, but really, if you really look, I mean, in live action, Adam West is your closest one. Where, he would go into his little laboratory in the Batcave and figure things out.
That's the closest.
That's the closest live action.
If you think about it, it's true. He would always deduct things that came off that computer. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to do this. He was always doing chemistry experiments. Like, I think you've seen some of his detective work on film. Like, you've seen like moments. Like, I think in The Dark Knight, you had a moment where Bruce is just basically dissecting, this bullet thing.
Yeah.
You saw a little bit of it in Batman v Superman, like slightly. But you have never gotten like the full-on detective.
Yeah,
he's called the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, I mean,
that's one of his nicknames.
Ra's al Ghul that calls him the detective for a reason. Yeah, I mean, we don't. I mean, we've seen that. I think in the original, the Batman animated series in the '90s, and we saw some of that in there, but not as in depth as we like. And again, that's what with Batman's Grave. I think that really pulls out that side of him, and that's. Makes me reminisce and enjoy a good detective story.
Yeah, if they could ever get that on film, and I think that's what they're going for with the Matt Reeves film, is the detective noir. So.
Yeah, from the way they've described it, that's what I get from that.
I hope we get it. That's what I want, man. I've always wanted a full-on crime thriller, like him trying to figure out like a whodunit Batman movie, and I think I'm gonna get that. And whenever we get it, 5 years from now.
You'll be right there along with your New Gods.
Yeah.
Same weekend. All right, guys. So, well, that is the end of the show for us. We had no memorials this time, so awesome job, guys. Keeping alive.
Stay alive, guys.
There were a few, but I don't think they hit in our genre. But just finally, guys, make sure you check us out. You can go to streamlinks.com/heroes_asylum. There you can find the links to all of our pages, our midnight movies, our Twitter, our Facebook page, all the happy stuff. And you can get to our heroesasylum.com, where, again, like I said earlier in the show, you can find not only this show, but you can also find the midnight movies, which is, chugging along just as hard as we are here. So, make sure you guys check those out. We're keeping it going with our weekly social media, daily events. Everybody seems to be enjoying those. We're getting some good feedback on those. A lot of interaction. So check that out. Kane is constantly coming up with something to put on there. I sometimes sneak behind him and I'll modify it, but
we have to talk about that off air, by the way. You little bastard. But anyway, what the captain eloquently is talking about is Monday what they say. I find a clip or some kind of thing from a comic book movie from the past. And you guys decide, what did they say? I don't know what they say. And we've had a lot of crazy comments. I think 2 weeks ago was the best one with Superman and Lois. That was great. And I chose another one, which is pretty good, that we'll have for tomorrow. Tuesday Titan, that's another one I have. I chose a really cool one this Tuesday. I think you'll dig it. Warrior Women Wednesday. That's it's taking place of something else until things get back on track. But I don't know. I kind of like Women Wednesday. I kind of like the ones you've chosen. I think we have to keep that one for a while.
Yeah, I think we are. We can double up on Wednesday and have our new releases too.
I kind of like that, and the ones that you've chosen have been great. Can't wait to see what you have for us this Wednesday. Flashback Thursday, a comic book run, a movie, could be anything, and I chose a really good one for this week. Friday Night Fights. Who's going to win this fight? I have actually a good fight coming up for this Friday, and you decide. It's actually, I'll give you guys a hint. They both wore the same costume. Ooh, spooky. Sci-Fi Saturday, we try to find a TV show from the past. What did you put last week? I don't think you put it in this past Saturday.
No, I was too busy, unfortunately, and I was going to do one, and then I decided not to. And
yeah, but the ones you've done in the past, you did Firefly, you did Babylon 5, I think we did Brimstone. We've done some really cool ones. So you guys have never checked out any of those series, do check them out. I don't know if they're on streaming, but you might have to go to deep.
I try whenever we do like our Throwback Thursdays and anything like that. I try to throw a link into either you can find a movie or you can find the comic book on Comixology. I try to at least give you guys a link that if you're like, oh, that is kind of cool. I try to send you in the right direction, and then you're on your own after that.
Captain try to leads you on that path.
Yeah.
And after that, you're on your own. But definitely check that out. The Twitter page is the Heroes Asylum Twitter page. Yay! I got some stuff cooking up for that page. I'm gonna have some polls, some crazy stuff going to go on there. Instagram right now is taking a hiatus. I'm just letting everybody know it's taking a little hiatus, a little bit of mourning, so it'll be fine. We'll have it revved up again. And of course, the Facebook page, which the captain has said over and over again. I'll repeat just to piggyback off him. It's growing. I think we talked about this last night. How the communities we just basically have given them the cell doors are open now. We're no longer running this asylum. The inmates have escaped, and we have to get them back because there's stuff going on that page that I'm not even in control of it. I don't even know where it's going. There's so many people on there that I don't even know who they are. But you know what? I thank them for being there. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. The likes and the shares. Comment away. Put polls on.
Yeah, there have been a couple people. I'm like, I don't know them, and I look at your Facebook page. I'm like, you don't know them. Who are these people?
Yeah, exactly. Who are you? Who are you? But thanks, guys, for the likes and the shares. We really do appreciate it. Spread the word of the asylum, and as always, from the captain to me to you is get to the asylum.
See you guys.